Conservatives, I want you to notice something very critical. Forget about your position on January 6th. Forget about your position on the election, right? This has nothing to do with whether January 6th was an inside job or whatever the perspective is, right? I want you to take note of something very important. After January 6th, you had people like Ben Shapiro who called it out, compared it to 9/11. And he was not the only one. You had across the board Republican Party and right-wing influencers calling it out. It was a disgrace. Trump left office with very poor ratings, and that was a bipartisan thing. So here's what I want you to consider. Trump is right now pardoning the people who were convicted for their involvement in January 6th, including the militias that were involved and convicted with, I believe, seditious conspiracy or something like that. So here's the problem. I'm not commenting here about whether Trump should be pardoning them or not, whether Trump's doing the right thing or not. Again, it's not about that. It's about something else. So I expect that across the board, virtually all the people who, on the right-wing influencers who called out January 6th when it happened, I presume that they're all going to just go along with whatever Trump is doing. Trump is pardoning them. Great, freedom, whatever, blah. Which means they stand for nothing, right? Again, it's not about who's right and who's wrong. This is all about integrity. If these right-wing influencers believe that this was a stain on the country and it was a very bad thing, then they should believe it now. If you don't see them pushing back hard against Donald Trump for what he's doing right now, and not just, when asked, right, volunteering and posting on social media the same way they did when it happened. If you don't see them doing that now, then that is proof that they're just pandering to you and they're going to just say whatever is going to make them the most money. So here's the problem with that. I know you probably don't believe that Trump's a bad guy. You think he did the best job that he could, or at least he's better than the alternative, right? Some version of that, you think. Fine. However, let's have some points of agreement. Trump is human, just like everybody else. He's not a god. He's a flawed human like everybody else. I think we can agree on that. Number two, you probably don't trust mainstream media or liberal media. So what they say about what Trump is going to do in the next 4 years is not going to really matter to you, right? So that means the only source that you have to know about how Trump is doing and what he's doing are these right-wing influencers who clearly stand for nothing, right? I'm not saying they stand for nothing because they're agreeing with Trump or going along with Trump. I'm saying it because when the winds were blowing in one direction, they were like, oh, this is like 9/11. When the wind's blowing a different direction, this is great and freedom and yeah, get them out of prison, right? This means they're spineless. The only source of information you have is from a bunch of spineless people that are purely focused on views and money and their own self-interest. So you might believe that Trump is not the bad guy they present him to be, but know this: if for some reason he decides to become a bad guy and become any version of the way that the liberal media keeps saying he is, any version of that, even a fraction of what they claim, if he decides to go that route, maybe because of the people that are around him or some personal issue or just him being human, you're not going to know, because those same people who just keep changing on a dime, they're going to tell you that everything's great and what he's doing is wonderful. That's dangerous. Regardless of your position on January 6th, you need to know the truth about what's happening. And these people have demonstrated that they're not saying truth. They're saying what is profitable, right? Either it was like January 6th or it was all made up and it's a whatever inside job. Now, some of you that are really drunk on that Kool-Aid will say they said that because they didn't realize all the stuff that we found out afterwards. You think it's the Tucker Carlson expose thing that he did that revealed stuff that we already knew from years ago, but was presented as if it was some new information. I don't know. For you, if you're that deep in, there's nothing I can say to you, so this video is not for you. But for everybody else, Houston, we have a problem. If you can't trust mainstream and liberal media, and you can't trust right-wing media, whether independent, Tim Pool, Steven Crowder, Blaze TV, Daily Wire, if you can't trust any of these guys, you're gonna have a massive blind spot to what's happening. So are you comfortable with just hoping and praying that Trump doesn't go rogue, right? While you're buried in your life, trying to stay afloat, protect your family while you're worried about your own life, issues that you got going on. Are you comfortable being in the dark about what your president's doing? Who's going to tell you the truth? You're not in the White House. You're the only source for you to know what the president is doing is a bunch of liars. You might think your source is how life is for you, but they're going to shape that. They're going to shape the way you think about things. Anything positive that happens, whether it's Trump's doing or not, they're going to frame it as Trump. Anything negative, they're going to frame it as, it's just because of what Biden did. Give Trump time. Again, the fact that they have no integrity and they're just saying whatever for clicks is a huge problem for you. I'm not sure what the answer is, but I just want you to at least recognize this major problem, this major information problem. Maybe you can come up with a solution in terms of what needs to be done to address that. But regardless of what your ideology is, what you believe is the right way for this country, the fact that you're going to be in the dark, the fact that millions of Americans are going to be in the dark because they don't have any sources that they trust or can trust is a problem. What do you think? This is Debate Me channel. Debate me in the comment section below. Click on the like button, subscribe, smash that bell. Be well.